together in the same day. And our staff is here. Robin Van Werkhoven has been tirelessly working on the Commons for a couple years now. Howard Porteous is my partner in crime. We've worked together for, gosh, I hate to admit it, 30 years, 25 years. Deborah Maris has been with me 12 years. And we moved our company to Arlington in 2012, for those of you who didn't know that, so we're vested here. We have a little project that we do down the street called Viridian. Some of you. Viridian, just to give you a quick update for those, we have 900 lots on the ground by December in Viridian. We'll be building the Sailing Center and the Events Center next year. Howard, can I announce that? Is that done deal? Right? Done deal? Okay, good. And between December and May of next year, we'll be putting 700 new lots on the ground. We're completely almost out of inventory with the weather we've had. So we're moving up. If we'd have had the lots, we'd be averaging about 30 new families moving into Arlington every month in Viridian. And that's what we expect will happen next year. So we're super excited. You might remember that property was on the tax rolls at about $10 million when we bought it. And we're at about $250 million this year, on our way to $2 billion. I just want you to understand what that means. Thank you. What that means for the school district, if you run the math, is that property threw off about $300,000 a year in taxes to all the taxing jurisdictions at 3%, which is what our tax rate generally is in Viridian. At $2 billion when we're done, it'll throw $60 million a year in taxes to the various taxing jurisdictions, and the school district's about 40% of that. And that money goes to the state, basically, and the state redistributes it around based on an allowance that each school district gets. That's generally right, but the school district experts can tell me about that. So it's that public-private partnership was remarkable, and it led into this one. So I thought we would, I also want to thank Charlie Parker for encouraging me to have a meeting tonight for those of you who had questions about what we're doing. We've had a couple of these. We had one at the convention center on this project before we got started, 300 or 400 people there. And we had another one here, one of Charlie's back in, I think, August of 13, or maybe it was later, maybe it was last year, Charlie. So this is the kind of the final piece before we go vertical, and there seemed to be a lot of confusion about what we're doing on the bar. So we're going to cover that tonight. We have the traffic experts here to help if we have questions that I can't answer. So hopefully I can answer them all and get you guys some information. So with that, if someone can come over here and work the slideshow for me. And we will. I love to take questions, so why don't I run through this quickly? Perhaps some of what I run through will answer some of your questions, but then I'd love to hear from you. And we just in the interest of respecting everybody's time, and we want to be able to hear you. I don't have a remote mic, so if you have a loud voice, you can project your question, I'll repeat it up here. And if everyone gave a long commentary, that might take forever, but we want everyone to be heard. So why don't we try and keep this to a reasonable time, and then I'll stick around as long as anybody wants to talk tonight and ask questions, as long as I need to be available. Okay, Deborah, let's start. The Nehemiah Company. I'm moving my family to Arlington because of our mission. We believe that we can do things differently as a company, and you can hold us accountable to this. Carrie and I intend to spend the balance of our life in Arlington now that our kids are gone, working in our business, but working primarily in our ministry as well. And that's our goal. So the Nehemiah Company and our staff went on retreat last year, and this is what our team, people that you met, Jason Barron's over there is our CFO, say hi Jason, and Amanda Lusty is recently joined us like today, full time. So we're glad to have Amanda on the team. The mission of the Nehemiah Company is to create value, which we have to do to attract capital, right? We can't attract capital unless we create value. We can't borrow money, we can't get investors, so we can't do anything that we redevelopment without that. So we have to create value. That's fundamentally what we have to do. The next thing is to restore hope. And we do that by knowing Him and making Him known. Now, everybody has their own belief system, and this is just what ours is. And we feel like if we can rebuild the city, which is what Nehemiah did, that's why our company is called the Nehemiah Company. If we can rebuild the city and minister to the people in it, then that's our calling, that's our job as a company. And so that's what we're doing. And we expect to continue to grow the things that we're doing in our community over time. But that's what the Nehemiah Company is all about. Next slide, please. All right, well, this is where we started in 2009 or 10. I started having conversations with economic development of the city because they had this thing called the Lamar overlay. And they passed that, and there were no takers. I mean, there was literally nobody around that wanted to have anything to do with it because it's just tough. The economics were tough. So we started studying the problem in 2009, and in 2012, we felt like we'd finally kind of broken the code on what might work. So over that period of time, we had town hall meetings, and we had these public hearings, and we got our zoning approved and our public-private partnership approved, and we began to see if we could acquire the properties and demolish them. So step number one, we had lots of conversations with the school district. Now, why did we pick this site? We picked this site because we believe in placemaking. If you've ever been to Viridian at night or in the evening, regardless of whether it's 100 degrees outside in the summer or whether it's in the wintertime, we've created a pedestrian community. We designed that whole place to get people to come outside and walk around Viridian. And I'd love to have a show of hands in here. You know, how many people walk around Viridian in the evening and can attest that it's working? Wow, it's really good. Thank you. The whole point is to get people talking to each other. And so in Viridian, we didn't segment by income. One of the things I love about that development, besides all the outdoor thing, is we mixed everyone together. So you know the guys that are you build $2.5 million houses, which are under construction on VPL, are living with the folks moving into their first home in a townhome that's $190,000. And we all live in the same neighborhoods, we share the same streets, and we share the same parks, and we're all mixed in there together. We're not segmented by gates or cul-de-sacs or villages or with a spine road, none of that. No one does that. That's 1940s thinking on how you build a community. It worked. A lot of our old great neighborhoods are designed that way, but developers don't do it anymore because it's too expensive. And because of our public-private partnership with the city, the county, the hospital, the college district, we were able to do something very special that will age well. So the goal with Arlington Commons was to do the same thing. How do we build community, not just apartments? How do we build community? How do we build something that isn't going to decay when it gets old? Garden-style apartments we've tried that. Garden-style apartments without community, and it didn't work out very well. And so Arlington's never had anything other than that in the apartment world. So the tools that we have are the park. We picked this site because, and this is the site right here. Here's Lamar, here's Texas Health Resources, the new Center Street Bridge, and here's the entrance to Rolling Hills Country Club down here. And we picked this site because we had this beautiful median that's never been developed. It's this beautiful piece of dirt that's never had any attention. And we want to give it a whole lot of attention. Like over time, over $3 million of attention. And similar to what we've done in Viridian, so people have a place to go, have a reason to get out and go walk. The other thing we love about it is there's this park back here, and there's a whole group of people in the city that have adopted and love that park, and they've tenderized, they've loved on it, and they've trimmed it, and they've taken care of it. And so we want to figure out, how do we help them? So we haven't touched that park. We're focused up here, but we would like to partner with them over time to figure out how do we turn this whole experience into something that makes the whole region and the neighborhood better, a place where people want to go and want to be. So that's the beginning of the palette. So this is what we started with. So we have this park back here, we have this potential beautiful parkway, and how do we create this experience? Now, it's being done other places around. Cities are catching on that the number one amenity that everybody wants is parks and trails. Not golf courses, you know, they want parks and trails. They want to get out, they want to walk around, they want to be active. Because we've learned that's how we live longer. If we're moving, motion is lotion, right? So, and I had one back surgery because I kind of know how that works. All right, next slide, please. This is where we are now. That was painful. It was ugly. It took a long time to get that property. I had to find a guy who came over from Vietnam on a boat to Malaysia and wound up owning one of those apartments, and we couldn't find him. It took us 6 months just to find him. And I don't drink, and he would only negotiate over cognac, so I had to have cognac. Now I do have wine every now and then, so I don't consider that drinking, but maybe that's a problem. So we had a lot of cognac. We got the property. Now the other thing we did is, you know, we had apartment churches and things in those apartments, so we can't move people out in that way like it's been done in the past. So we had to figure out how to help people get from one place to another. So we had this CARES program with the apartments in different areas, and we figured out how to help people save some money so they could or get waivers on there, and we were able to, a lot of people just quit paying rent, and we didn't chase them and they just disappeared. So there was a group that did that. They just said, you know, and we let them live there for a while, and we didn't go after them, and they just went away. And then there was another group that needed help, so we gave them boxes, and Mission Arlington agreed for those folks that they would help them. So we gave them boxes, they boxed up their stuff, and I think we moved 50 families out of there to somewhere else. And they were able to save money and get all that done. So unlike Cowboy Stadium and some of the other experiences with this kind of redevelopment, we were able to get through this. And I had one nasty grant from an attorney out of 350 families, and that was it. Everybody, for the most part, we didn't have any issues. And I know the city was thrilled about that. I was, because I had to indemnify the city from any lawsuits that they might have as a result of this development when it came to relocation. So I put my personal on the line for that, and so I'm glad that's over. Next slide. So we got this nice palette. We're already seeing redevelopment. All right. I walk the apartments at Washington and Lincoln regularly, and I'm seeing for the first time people are spending money again on them. And there are college kids. Probably 20% of the doors that I've met, knocked on over there, are now college students. First time I've seen that. First time that happened was this year. So there is this thing going on. And I think you'll begin to see that more and more over time. The Criswell Center is well underway being redeveloped. Someone bought that as soon as we knocked this stuff down. And I can tell you that the business owners are thrilled with our plan. And if you talk to Texas Health or you talk to some of the other owners of the buildings around there, is Jeff here? Jeff's not here yet. There's some of the guys that own the office buildings across the street thrilled with what's happening. All right, this is the inspiration. And don't pick on me, I had to find somewhere for inspiration. I know some folks think I'm being a little silly, but that's Commonwealth Park in Boston. And the width of that park is not too dissimilar in areas for what we're dealing with. That's possible. And if you've been to Viridian and you've seen how we do parks, we do them right. Agreed? Everybody agreed? So we can do this. We have the money to do it, and we can do it. Believe me, it's cheaper if we don't do it. Okay? So it's the first time I've ever had to defend spending more money on a project. That's a first. But that's okay, because everybody needs to be, I really want everybody happy with us. I'm going to be here a long time. I'm going to see all you guys. We're going to have 5 phases of this, so we're going to be in front of you 5 times. And I don't want you mad at me if we screw it up. So I promise we're going to try really hard to get it right. It won't be from lack of effort. Next slide. All right, this is the rendering from the architectural drawings of what we're building. Now, Howard and I are still arguing about colors and things, and so but you can kind of get the idea. Now, we didn't get the bike lane; it didn't work. So the only thing in that rendering that I know didn't work was the bike lane. When we did the traffic analysis, there's just no place to squeeze that rascal in without people getting scrunched. So we knew that. So forgive me for the bike lane. This is actually facing west, and this is looking to the east, and you can see what the quality of the landscaping that we're planning. Now, these were the exact streetlights we were going to do, but we really liked what the city did on Lamar, and so we thought it made more sense to mimic what they did. And so we're going to replace those with what they did in terms of new streetlights and things. These are, next slide. Thanks, Deborah. This is a look the other way. You guys recognize that building on the other side of 30. So the renderer slid that in there so we could see where it fits. I want you to see what we're doing. And I know most people don't seem to have any objection to the quality of the project, but this is very expensive. If you look at most of these new, modern, even in Uptown, very expensive apartments, it's flat, and they stick these, what I call them lick-on stick balconies, okay? And I hate it, but I know why they do it, because it's cheaper to do it that way. And this doubles my cost because I've got to do all this extra stonework, okay? But it will age well. This thing won't go to C and D and E and F. I just believe with all my heart it'll never do that. And I think if we create this really cool regional park light environment, and we have great architecture, and we're putting granite countertops in the units, we're doing everything we can. We're doing a lot of small one bedrooms. That's intentional. Okay, that small one bedrooms attract a certain tenant that we all want, and then we want them to go down to Meridian and buy houses. This is my feeder stock for Meridian. Okay, next slide, please. All right, I want, and we can't guarantee. In fact, when we did our zoning, we had all these discussions about, when you start stacking mixes of uses, it creates all kinds of problems, financing and otherwise. Would have made the project unfinanceable right now. Now that may change in the future, but that doesn't mean we can't prepare and market and see if we can't attract some tenants. I did have a call today from someone interested in some of the corners that we have and maybe doing a restaurant. So that's good. But this is our leasing office, but we built it like a restaurant might look in the corner of a building. Or we might do a standalone restaurant. And we did that on purpose because when we built phase one, we want to be able to bring potential tenants out and say, see. And we can have events. These are festoon lights in a little courtyard, and so we can have, resident events in there and things in the park, and that's a place to stage all the food, and so that's the point with that. Next. This is what we did at Hebron. So Howard and I built this concept before. The city of Louisville asked us to come in and do transit-oriented development when I worked at Huffines, and we did Hebron 121 Station, which was the first kind of transit-oriented on the north side of town. And they're on phase 4. The city loves it, and the people around there love it. And it was in a similar area. You had to drive through Section 8 housing to get to the site, and it still worked. We don't have that. We have a very, very clean window. You get off Center Street, you're here. Or you come down Cooper, you're here. So our window is excellent. Our visibility on 30, unbelievable. So that's one example. We have another slide.
Sorry. There we go.
That's another example. How many were at the CVB address where the guy said millennials don't want dining rooms? I was glad to hear that because we don't have a lot of dining rooms in these. Next. All right, now the park. This rendering was done before we did the traffic study and impacted the engineering. So there's a few things that are incorrect. Like we can't put parking right here because we need to preserve. This is the entrance to Rolling Hills, and this is where Ryan Plaza comes in. So phase 1, we're really talking about just this section right here. So all we're talking about doing over the next 2 to 3 years is phase 1. It goes right here, and this is the section of road where we want to narrow it. Now, eventually, we go all the way from Lincoln all the way to here, and we want to take that down to. We're going to leave both roads there. Someone was concerned about that, but we want to do some bulb outs and things to protect, and we want to do parallel parking along here, and we want to slow the traffic down through here. Even at peak periods, now we have to do some other improvements, signalization and restriping and some other things at other intersections to make to make it all work. I'm gonna need some water. Carrie,
Right in front of you.
thank you. But and I'm not a traffic engineer, so you'll have to, how they run these models is, but the science says it all works great. I mean, I'm a developer. What do I know about science? But these people go to school for a living, and they're experts. And she's over there, and you can go beat her up later if you don't like what she said. We'll talk a little bit about that. All right, next slide, please. There's things we can do. This is phase 1, and it's not enough to have a park. You also have to have programming and activities. So we would want to do things in the park. If you live in Meridian, we have 80 events a year. You guys know what I'm talking about. We bring movie night in the park, and we have jazz band in the park, and it's a lot of fun. But you need a place to do all that stuff. So the idea is that we're going to have these really cool young or retirees that are moving down, that are living in these apartments, and we want stuff for them to do. And so there's things internally to do in the atriums with resort pool and place to sit around the fire pit and all of that. But the real focus is out on the street. And we think that benefits all the offices and the employees in the area. They can come out at lunch if they want when it's cool in the fall and sit in the park and have lunch. I mean, that's the dream, that's the vision. Okay, next slide.
Can I ask you a real quick question, just so I can, where is this park? Is the park the same as the median?
Yes, we're going to take that median and we're going to turn it into that park that you saw.
How wide is that?
Well, it varies. It varies at different widths, and it's as narrow as 30 feet and it's as wide as 60 feet. And we do parks in Meridian all the time in those widths, and they work great. We have these muses where we have houses that face on the parks with no street, and people walk down the muse. Imagine that, a house with no street in front of it. It works great, people love it.
Are you talking about Lamar Blvd?
I'm talking about right here.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, all right.
Well, are they going to cut the street widths down?
Yeah, well, I'm going to get to that. I promise, I'm going to get to that. So let's go to the next slide. All right, here's what we're doing. Now, let me preface this by saying, my plea with you would be, please let me try and show you. We'll do it phase by phase. We won't do the whole thing at one time. We'll do phase 1. And here's what we want to do. Get out of the way. So this is just phase 1. All right, we want to take the existing road that's there, and we want to restripe it, and we want to create these little bulb outs, and we want to make that parallel parking. So for this, if you're going eastbound, if you're going westbound towards Rolling Hills from Lincoln or Van Buren, this is Van Buren right here. If you're going, and this is all we're going to do in the first phase. This is this little test section right here. So this is what we want to do. These 2 lanes, nothing changes. So right now it's 4 lanes.
Was there a bike lane on the other side from your development? I thought I saw that on the renderings online.
Yeah, we just mentioned that. We couldn't make the bike lane work.
On either side?
On either side. Okay. Yeah, we can't get the bike lane to work. It was on the rendering. We wanted to do that. Subsequent traffic studies showed that it wouldn't work. Hold on one second. Let me explain it. Why do I need the street? I'm going to explain that. I promise. All right, why do I need this? That's a great question. Let me answer. Here's why I need the street. To create an environment that will, for everyone that lives in that area. So if you live in North Arlington and you want another cool pedestrian park experience that's first class, like we did in Viridian, for instance, okay? If we're trying to bring, that's what we do. We create environments. So we wouldn't do it if the science didn't support it. So, and here's the deal. We're not taking it, the paving is going to stay there except for these little ball valves. And we'll do some landscaping in there. If it doesn't work, we'll put it back in and restripe it. So, all I'm asking for is for you to give me a chance. And the thing I would say is, where's Richard? All right, I'm going to pick on Richard a little bit. Not a lot. Richard's the most diligent guy. He's out there all the time at council. But he tells me I'm crazy. He's been telling me I'm crazy for 10 years. I mean, and everything I do, Richard says it won't work. And everything I've done in 10 years has worked great. So, all I'm saying is, I know I'm a little nutty, and I know I have some ideas that are out of the box, but I'm your guy. I live here, my family's here, I've invested everything, I've bet my entire personal, I have to guarantee all the debt on this stuff. So, I'm all in. And I'm all in for Arlington. I'm all in professionally, and I'm all in personally. You know, I spend my free time in this town. I love this place. I think it's a very unique, special place. So all I'm asking for is please just let me show you. That's all I'm asking. If it doesn't work, the road's not going away, it's still there. All we got to do is put it back in service. But it's going to work. The science says it's going to work. Other parts of the country that mix pedestrian and cars, we just got to get you to slow down a little bit. 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I know that's a lot to ask to slow you down 10 seconds as you go through the park, but I think it's worth it, and I think it will raise the values, and it will sustain us. It will keep us one of those cool places for people to live for a long time. Those special park-like environments are the ones that are really important. All right, so that's why we need it. Next slide. All right. I know you're not going to believe the science, but this is the existing condition. And what these are, they grade level of service. All of these different, Lamar from Cooper to Ryan Plaza, from Ryan Plaza to Van Buren, and it goes on and on and on. And we have to get C's to be able to do this. Well, C is like, and this is from the traffic people telling me, C's like, no big deal, you breeze right through it. Okay, and F is what Collins is at rush hour. Okay, all right, but a C, you breeze right through. So the worst we get is a C. So with all these changes, and now we're not just taking a lane out. I mean, there's signalization over time that happens. There's stacking lanes that have to be built. That's part of this package. It's not like we get to take a lane out and there's nothing else that happens. Okay, there's 4 or 5 different things over time as we get bigger. And let me say too that this 2035 assumes everything builds out around us. So that big tower that they want to build, Tremel Crow, and yes, sir.
What's a stacking lane?
A stacking lane. All right, when you want to turn left, and there's only enough room for 4 cars to turn left, and so the 5th guy's got his rear end hanging out in the lane and backs up traffic. So instead of 4 cars, we're going to stack 10, 12, 15 cars. So if you have more stacking, it frees up that other lane so people can go through. So it's not just, yes ma'am.
Is the purpose of having that parking lane that people have access to this park that you're creating? And if so, is there enough room when you have an event for people to park and then cross the park and then cross over to traffic?
If we do an event, okay, we'll have to work with the city and the commercial people on the other side on where we park people. There won't be enough parking there in the front.
Is the parking that you're proposing so that people can access and have a place to park to use the park?
Well, well, it's hard for you to know. I'm trying to answer your question. I'm not trying to be evasive. Okay, some people will park there, like in Viridian right now. People come that don't live in Viridian and they park along the park, and they go into the park. But other people are visiting people in Viridian, and they park there, and they go. I've even had somebody who had 5 cars and didn't have a place to put all his cars, so he parked there. Okay, I don't expect we'll have a 5-car problem. The other thing we do in the apartments is we have electronic keys. So you get one renter, you get one key, and you can't duplicate it. And those keys also keep track at the door who goes in and out and when. It's kind of interesting. So if we don't download it, but the residents want us to download it, we can see, and that's more than you wanted. But the answer is yes to both. There will be people that live in the apartments that will park there because some of the units have ground floor access in those little courtyards. But if it's me and I live in those apartments and I could go up the parking garage to my floor and I'm in the shade, I'm going up there. I'm not parking outside in the heat. So I suspect most of the residents are going to be in the parking garage. Number one, their car is safer. It's in a shaded environment and they can walk directly to the unit on the floor they're on. So I don't expect that we'll have a lot of residents unless they live in those ground floor units parking in that spot.
Is there adequate parking for all the people that's going to be living at Viridian? And if this is on the road, you know the people that live up close to it will definitely use this, which will limit the access for the people that want to visit the park.
The question is there adequate parking for our apartments? Okay, the city won't let me build them unless I meet a certain ratio of parking. Okay?
Yes, but are you talking with them about using that parking along the road as part of the parking for these apartments?
Absolutely, we want to use part of that parking in our ratios.
That's what I thought.
But the ratios take into account not just the residents, but the visitors that come to the residence. And so, now keep in mind, we're doing 5 phases, all right? So if we're wrong and there's not enough parking, then guess what the city's going to do on phase 2? Bob, you got to build more parking for phase 2, plus you got to fix the problem for phase 1. You know, if I wasn't a local developer and this was a one and done deal, I get it. But look, it's going to take me 12 years to build this thing. You and I are going to get to see each other every year for 12 years if you want to. And I want you happy. I don't want you mad.
I don't think it's a good idea to use Lamar for parking, private parking. I just think that is a bad idea, and there's
Well, it's
no
not
way I can
private
support it.
parking, okay, it's public parking. But
It
it does
will, it's
count
supposed to be.
for our visitors if they want to come visit some. Any other questions? Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it kind of goes along. I mean, if you're going to have a parking garage, I don't know if you're familiar with UTA, they have a little common area as well. They have little shops, and they have a little parking garage, which students as well as clients, whoever actually is the source, they actually can park there. Now, they can park there for a couple of hours, and they're supposed to leave. Even cities like Plano will do this. They have a parking garage for the residents that live in the apartments, but the first and second level will have parking space for clients that are using the stores around. And again, with the idea that they can only be parked there for a limited amount of time, otherwise.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to limit the parking so people have to move in and out. That's a great idea. All right, I want people to have a chance to comment. So let's see what else I have. That's it for now. That's good for now. So would anybody? Yes, sir.
Yes. How many spots of parking do you have on the road in phase 1?
I believe there's 20. Howard, am I? 23? 23.
23. It's all on one side of the road.
Yes, sir.
Next to the apartments.
Yes, sir.
How many spots in the garage for phase 1?
I see the team over there. They want to know how many spots in the garage. 483 to 87.
That's for phase 1.
Yes, sir. Just phase 1.
And how many apartments do you have for phase 1?
Well, we have some more parking in the back, right? How many spots in the back? 35. There's 350 apartments. 352.
So if you took those out in front, it sounds like you still have adequate parking for all the residents.
Yes, sir.
Garage and in the back.
Yeah, the parking ratio tries to anticipate visitors too. But we believe we have adequate parking for all our residents.
You know, it's so trashy. You've got a very nice looking apartment here, and you're going to have all this parking in front of it. And you can't control what kind of vehicles are going to be outside your park. I mean, to me, it makes sense for you not to do that, as opposed to doing it. And the second question is, I mean, just like we brought up before, for some of us that want to come to this park that you're building, you know, we're not going to have any parking. What are we going to do, walk from our homes 2 miles away, get up there? Where are we going to park? It doesn't do us any good at all.
Well, what we typically see when you build these kind of regional amenities is people park nearby, and if you go to you know, Memorial Park in Houston, I suspect that we're going to see how successful you are. Yes, sir.
Now, you're talking about a park in the median, but you also said that there's another park, like, right up the street, right? So
Behind the park.
Right, so is there going to be any kind of conflict there as far as, you know?
No, actually, they all work together as a system. And so hopefully, you know, over time, we've got these wonderful jogging trail all the way around, and people can walk their dogs, they've got somewhere to go.
So this park, I'm sorry, this park will eventually, you'll have like a trail connecting to the other park?
That's the intent, long term, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Why don't we leave the 2 westbound lanes as they are and make the parallel parking on your land and just push your
There you go.
Well, that's a good question, and it comes back to placemaking. And, let me repeat the question. The question is, why not leave the 2 lanes there and put the parking on our lane? That's the question. And the reason is that in our business, there's a thing called traffic calming. And there are people in here that can speak to that. And the point is, they can get through, but they need to slow down. And if you're going to have a pedestrian environment, the cars and the people need to get along okay. And look, it's been done all over the country. This isn't new. But 2 lanes zooming through there, it'll ruin it. It just won't work near as well. And believe me, it's more expensive for us to do it this way. So, you know, it's...
So what's the real reason? I mean, you want to create park, you want to slow traffic down, you want to have parking for the parking, you want to have parking for the residents. I mean, what's the overall situation? I mean, you know, screw all the slides and everything, what is the need?
The need is, I'm into placemaking, and I've spent 30 years studying how to do that. And I hope I've demonstrated that well to you, unconventionally. And it's very difficult to have 2 lanes going through the middle of that kind of environment. It works a lot better if it's 1 lane. That's the reason. It's about placemaking and park making. And if it can work, if the car and the people can coexist, it's better for everybody. And if I'm wrong, we can put it back. Well, right now, the park would be, the reason I'm hesitating is because I'm talking to our company, Texas Health, and a couple of others about creating a community association that could augment the maintenance that the city will do on the park. More fertilization. Part of how we develop it, we have to be smart so that we can limit the amount of maintenance that there is in the park. But there will be some, and so we're looking at, you know, at each phase of our community contributing something to annual maintenance, and the businesses along the other side helping to contribute. They benefit as well, obviously. Yes, ma'am.
Why couldn't you?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're next, okay?
Yes, thank you very much. That's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
Lamar is a major east-west.
Absolutely.
It has been for a long time. If that is amended, the traffic goes awry everywhere else, makes it more congested. For the people living there, I'm sure that's quite wonderful, and that's a smaller percentage than the rest of us. I think Lamar is totally needed to remain like it is, and I just strongly.
Yeah, what she said is she strongly believes that we need Lamar because it's this major thoroughfare, and that if we close it down, it's going to make everybody else miserable. And the traffic science doesn't support your argument. I don't think, in my opinion, and well, in their opinion. And the other thing is, remember, there's a lot of fear too about when Center Street Bridge went in. Remember that? Everybody was afraid that was going to, and that worked out okay. You know, I don't think it's been horrible for anybody.
I'd like a show of hands, please. Who in this room is against Lamar being reduced to 3 lanes of traffic for the benefit of the development?
You know,
seem to make the Arlington Commons
hey, sir,
apartment complex.
I'll let you ask your question at the end, I promise.
Thank you.
You're welcome to ask that
Just asking a
question.
question.
No, it's a good question, but ask it at
I'd
the
like to see a
end. Let
show of
everybody
hands on
have
that.
something to say. Yes, ma'am.
Let me speak. I'm trying to speak. It's my time. No, I'm not. I've got a question on the floor here. I would like it answered.
I didn't call on you, but I promise I'll get to you. Let everyone have, you've had 2 chances. Let's all right, yes, ma'am. The shopping guys are thrilled because they'll sell more stuff if there's more people moving around in it. No, the question was, will people park in the commercial area? And the answer is yes, and they'll shop there too. So those guys are fine. I'm not getting any resistance from them. They're happy about it. In fact, they're spending more money already because of what we've done. They're thrilled about it. Absolutely, they're aware of the whole plan. So is Texas Health, and they're in support. Yeah, sure. Sure.
This is an ordinance that was created for this particular development, and the ordinance was voted on, and inside the ordinance there is a poison pill in there, and it's Exhibit B, and it's paragraph 18D, and I'll read it to you. If the lane reduction to East Lamar Boulevard between Lincoln Drive and Ryan Plaza Drive impairs the level of service below LOS D, okay, which there's C now, okay, the owner of the development shall provide an acceptable alternative solution that maintains the LOS, level of service, at D or better, or the owner of the development shall remove the on-street parking to restore East Lamar Boulevard between Lincoln Drive and Ryan Plaza Drive to the pre-development configuration of 2 westbound lanes. So, if he does it and it doesn't work, he has to change it back as per the ordinance. That's all I wanted to let you guys know, that there is a reversal of this situation if and when it doesn't work.
There's more information needed. How is it determined what that LOS is? What goes into that?
The question is, what is the level of service? What goes into that? And the traffic engineers, it has to do with the capacity to flow through there and how long it takes. So, and there are standards that have been set for the whole state on what that is. So I don't control that. The city doesn't control that. That's controlled by the traffic engineers and the standards that they have in their profession. And I don't have anything to do with that, and the city doesn't have anything to do with that. So it is what it is. They put the little things out there and they count it, and it is, and it's black and white. There's not a whole lot of arguing about it, which is good. Is there anyone here that would like to? Yes, ma'am, in the back.
I have a question. I would assume that a reasonable expectation is that people who don't want to be slowed down by 1 lane on the line are automatically going to, that traffic is going to be diverted through the neighborhood and the vicinity. Has it been?
Well, if you're,
Has it been implemented plans
go back to,
how to mitigate what could possibly happen to those of us who live along Lincoln who are worried about traffic from people that don't want to be slowed down for half an hour, 1 mile with 1 lane?
the traffic study shows that there's like an 8% at 2035 increase, and that includes all the background traffic from changing this lane. It's negligible. I mean, that's just what it shows. And I think the reason is there's probably most of them are going, if they're coming down Lamar trying to get on I-30, you're not passing Lincoln. You're hanging a left at Lincoln and you're going up to the Center Street Bridge. Yes, ma'am.
Has any thought been given to an elevated park?
An elevated park.
Like Kyle Warren, something like that?
Like the park in Dallas. That would take a bond election probably. but yeah. It would, but it literally would take a bond election. I mean, that would be probably $25 million to $30 million just to do that, as opposed to, 3.5. But it's a good question, and that's, yes, sir.
If the reduction of one lane going westward is to slow down traffic, is there any particular reason you're not doing it on the eastbound side also?
Well, remember, because we can create the environment with just one side. We don't need both sides. Okay, so the interaction of the people is going to be in that area. And it just wouldn't work to take them both out. But we can create the environment that we all want to create, or that I want to create, and I think a lot of us in here want to create, by just taking that one lane out. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
It says in the last part of the traffic study, it says there would be significant reduction in through trips because people will be diverting to avoid the traffic. I'd like to know how many cars do they estimate would divert because of it. And it also says this section of the thoroughfare would primarily serve as access to the adjacent development. So my question to that is, what about all the rest of us? If they just want that part of Lamar to be for that development?
She's reading that handout.
Is that our traffic study or your handout or somebody's
It was
handout?
a traffic study that was along with the information on the city council agenda.
The traffic study is quite extensive, and I would encourage you to read it if you're interested in all those technical details. I can't answer to you right now standing here without going and getting the traffic study. I don't think, but if you stick around afterwards, well, the traffic engineer's here and you can ask her that question.
Can you comment on saying that that section would be primarily serving as access to the adjacent development? I mean, it's a city street. It doesn't belong to the development.
No, I agree completely. And the traffic study says that we're going to be able to go through that development. It doesn't say that it's exclusive for that development. Now, the people that live there and the businesses that are there are served by Lamar. That is a true statement. And that would be true on any street. Yes, ma'am?
I just want to know when this study was done.
When the study was done.
Yeah, we completed it right around
1st of September it was completed.
Is it a city study?
There were 2 studies done. We're required to hire an engineer to do a study. And then the city has Kimbel who's their master engineer that keeps track of their traffic models, and they had to do their own independent study. And both studies confirm what we're saying. Yes, in the back.
What is the proposed speed limit on the westbound traffic on one lane? You say you're going to slow it down. What are you going to slow
Well, people speed on that lane, so this would help keep them from speeding. But I don't anticipate any change in the speed limit. But it would keep people from barreling through there illegally, for sure. It would encourage that.
speed limit down, 35 or 40?
I think it's 40.
And you're not proposing to slow it down?
I think the traffic calming, the way we have it planned, will take care of that. Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, I'm a long-term resident in the area, and I want to continue because I really think this will do a lot to increase our property values. Develop, obviously, a very beautiful plan. Is very cognizant about making sure that it doesn't turn into Section 8 housing. The previous. At first, my wife and I were a little concerned when we heard that Lamar was going down one lane, but we live right just north here of the shack. We go down Lamar quite a bit, but we always go eastbound. When we go to Whole Foods or any of the shops and restaurants like Collins, we always get back on I-30 and come back here. So the amount of times that we end up coming westbound on Lamar is negligible compared to how many times we go eastbound on Lamar. So the fact that you're going to create this highly attractive park that's going to increase the amenities in our neighborhood, I commend you for that. And I know that there have been a lot of studies in other cities, the way to create that kind of environment that you've created in Viridian. We've got several families that have lived in, and just rave about the lifestyle there because you slow the traffic down, create this wonderful close-knit environment where everyone knows one another. We'd love to have that opportunity here in North Arlington as well. So I, for one, I'm not concerned about the traffic. If people realize that most of the time they're going eastbound, that traffic's not going to be affected and you still have I-30 to come back westbound. So I really don't see it's going to impact the reduction in traffic. It's not going to really affect our access.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And you raise an interesting point too. We're starting at Lincoln, so if you're coming down Lincoln, heading north where it turns into Center Street, you're going to Whole Foods. You come up there, and you're going to be able to turn left. None of that's changing. So that whole section stays the same. So it really is a very small segment, and I think it's worth the risk to let us try. Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking my question. My question has to do with the current Thoroughfare Development Plan that was approved in 2011, calling for Lamar Boulevard to be 6 lanes expanded from its current.
If that ever happened.
And so what's really at question here is that you are going to be getting an amendment approved tomorrow.
That's right.
To amend it to where it comes from 6 lanes to reduced of its current status.
Right.
I just want to make sure everybody understands
that.
Here,
this is an important point.
And the study that was done in the 2011 Thoroughfare Development Plan was done by another consultant who apparently thought Lamar needed extra lane.
Here's what she just said. She said, Bob, you're voting tomorrow to take Lamar on the Thoroughfare Plan from 6 lanes to 3 lanes. Now, to me, I think that would make the situation that we have in North Arlington even worse. If you want a 6-lane racetrack right through the middle of that area, that ain't going to help. And it's going to increase the amount of traffic encouraged. You think you got ballpark traffic problems now? Just wait. You put 6 lanes through there, you're going to kill all these people. And in my opinion, you're going to ruin their houses. And so I'm just saying, and the traffic study shows, at least based on the development that we're doing and the other developers in the area are doing, that there will not be warrants to justify going to 6 lanes. They're just not. So from my experience, that Cleveland and one of these other cities, they're even taking freeways out of their cities because it ruined them. That kind of speed and traffic and pollution and noise and nastiness, you can have that, or you can have a regional pedestrian park setting. You pick. To me, I'm going for, hey, let's make our property values worth more. I'm not real interested in helping the Highland Park crowd zoom through my town. I'd rather it be for the people that live here. Yes, ma'am. We'll have to do protected crossings across, and we have those. And there will also be park-like landscaping. We'll spend 2-3 times the landscaping most park developers spend on both sides. And we'll also be putting street trees over on the far side. So we're going to add a lot of street trees and amenities to the area, not just on what we're doing on apartments, but in the middle, and then street trees on the other side as well in that section. What you'll find is that there will be plenty of breaks with the signalization that happens. People can cross at the signals. We're proposing over time, we're going to need signals at Van Buren, and I think at Garfield too, Howard? Yes. So over time, we'll have signals there to help people get across the street. So there'll be a safe way to cross. Good question.
Will it be like schools? Will it be like the school crossings or something?
Well, that will certainly be an option for people. It'll be that good, yes.
Well, I want to introduce myself. First, I'll say I'm an advocate of the project. My name is Kimbel Johnson. I've been in Arlington for 22 years. I'm a recent retiree of the Arlington Police Department. I retired as a lieutenant, and before retiring, I was over the Special Events Unit, which oversaw special projects and research for new things in Arlington. And the argument that I'm hearing in here really is about quality of life and a lot of anecdotal concerns. I remember when the 11th Pavilion was being built. I remember when Cowboy Stadium potentially was coming through, and the Viridian is one. without the opportunity to have quality of life change, you're going to end up with what South Arlington became, which was the newest part of Arlington. I lived in South Arlington. I couldn't get out of there fast enough because it was a status quo type of new development where developers were able to build apartments and streets and low-income housing, and it's killed the South Arlington infrastructure. I moved to the Meridian. I love it. My family loves it. This program that we're looking at and we're talking to, it's going to create change, and change creates fear. But it's also going to bring a new dynamic, a new infrastructure, new income, and it's going to change the quality of life, I think, for the better. Yes, you may have to slow down on Lamar, but I'll tell you, being a traffic cop for a long time, slowing down on Lamar is not a bad thing.
Yes, sir.
If I can say one more thing.
Yes, sir.
For those of you that want multiple lanes and have infrastructure on both sides, come down to Pioneer Parkway. Right when I retired, I worked out of the East Substation on New York, 2001 New York Avenue. 4 fatalities from pedestrian crossings trying to get from apartment complex to some type of commercial development in between New York Avenue and 360 in 6 months. Do you really want the speed, or would you like the quality of life where you walk around? Thank God we got rid of those apartments as a tactical commander. Park and enjoy the escalation. I was paying about $3,000 worth of property tax in South Arlington. I'm paying about $12,000 now. The value of my house in 8 months has increased by about $120,000. I trust you. I support you.
Thank you. Yes, sir, in the back.
Since we've got some profiles on, I've lived in this neighborhood since I was 14. I live now just on the other side of 30, and I have to use Lamar because Kimbel Mill is overloaded when the Rangers are in town, when the Cowboys are in town, when the concerts are in town, when the rodeo's in town, when the motocross is in town. I use Lamar left and right. Now, is your traffic survey, have you estimated when you start putting in all these new people in there, how much that's going to go up?
Yes, sir. In fact, not only, the question was that we estimated all the new people in the full build-out. The traffic study, it assumes not only our development, but it assumes that Trammell Crow is successful with that 500,000 square foot office tower, that Champions Park is successful. It assumes that the apartment land over there on Washington, that gets developed. I mean, everything that's vacant, they assume got developed. Now, I hope not all of that gets developed necessarily that fast, but it's all in the traffic study. So we are having to explain to you that these intersections work, and we're taking on the burden of everybody that's coming after us too. We had to allow, and everything, all the traffic that they're going to put on the roads, we had to take into account, not just what we're doing. So it was very extensive, and I could argue that's not fair. Why should we be penalized for some other development that may never happen? But you know what? It worked anyway. So to me, that's a good thing. Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with Norwood?
No.
Norwood? The city several years ago went to a residential street over kind of in West Arlington, kind of called Norwood, and they took out a lane and they put in a bunch of traffic calming, kind of like what you're talking about here, with the idea that it would actually reduce the speed. And I went over there after they built that about 6 months later and knocked on doors because what I saw was that the neighbors there had actually purchased little signs that said slow down because the traffic calming didn't work. And I knocked on doors and I had to confirm that. I said, why do you guys have these signs? I was told that this was supposed to take care of the speeding. And one guy even said that he went as far as buying a radar gun.
Yeah, his question is that they did traffic calming in another community and it didn't work.
Well, my question is how can you...
Yeah. Come to Meridian and I'll show you.
Well, now how can you guarantee that this...
Because I've done it before and it works. So come to Meridian and I'll show you. There are other developers don't know how to do it and they do it wrong. But I got a great track record. I've done this in Colorado and I've done it here. Yeah.
I'm just saying that they said it would work over there and it didn't.
Right, because it didn't do it right. Yeah, if you don't do it right, it won't work. It's a kit of parts. All right, people I can tell are ready to go. You asked an important question. For those of you that are here that are willing to give me a chance to do phase 1 and see, and let me try, can I just see a show of hands? I'm grateful. If you're willing to grab one of those I Love Arlington comments on your way out and put it in your yard so your neighbors can see too, I'd be grateful. And I look forward to seeing everybody at the meeting tomorrow night. It's at City Council at 6:30. Oh. Sure, after the meeting, I'll stay as long and I'll answer as many questions as you want. I promise. Okay, Jamie? What? Yes, sir. Question in the back.
Just as a upcoming college graduate who's growing an Arlington my whole life.
Yes, sir.
Projects like this with a very serious looking at where I'm going to live in the area post-grad. Where maybe projects like this, play aren't being built. I'll probably be looking at office or elsewhere. So again, I commend this project and appreciate your organization.
Thank you very much. That's what we want. More than that. All right, I'm gonna close the public part, but I'm staying. So come see me, and I'm happy to talk to you. Thank you. Please come tomorrow night and support the council as they vote for this.
Tried. They just don't want to listen.
Well, hello, you guys could have raised your hands.
I don't know enough about the subject. I just know that if Kelly's on that side, then I'm on that side.